Dear learners, welcome to my channel Educare Horizon. In this channel, we are going to discuss rights and duties of agents and principals under the law of agency. We will discuss what are the duties of an agent. The following are the duties of an agent. First point is to follow principles, directions, or customs. Skill and diligence to work. To render proper accounts. To communicate with the principal. Not to deal on his own account. To pay sums received for principal. Not to delegate authority. On principal's death or insanity, some duties are vested in the hands of agent. So these are the duties of agent. We will discuss in detail. First one is to follow principles, directions, or customs. So it is a duty of the agent to follow the instructions or directions given by the principal, and the agent is required to follow only the directions and instructions given by the principal. But in certain cases, some emergency situation arises and the agent is unable to contact with the principal. In that case, the agent is required to follow the customs or to act only for the benefits of the principal. Second one is skill and diligence to work. As an agent, it is your responsibility to apply skill and diligence, due diligence to work. So you are required to apply your expertise and diligence in the work, because a principal is appointed you to apply your skills, expertise, and diligence. So you are required to work accordingly. The third duty is to render proper accounts as per section 213. An agent is bound to render proper accounts to his principal on demand. He should always be ready to produce them to the principal. So the books of accounts, the agent is required to prepare and provide the proper books of accounts to the principal on demand, and it should be ready always to produce him to the principal. And fourth one is to communicate with the principal. It's a responsibility, it's a duty of the agent as per section 214 to communicate with the principal. Always there should be proper coordination and proper communication, and the agent is required to communicate with the principal. The next duty is not to deal on his own account as per section 215. No agent is having the right to deal any transactions on his own account. The agent is always required to deal transactions on principal's behalf only and to his own account only. Don't make any transaction on his own account by an agent. The next one, to pay sums received for principal. So as much amount he collected, the agent collected for the principal, it should be properly paid, or it should be deposited to the principal's account as per the instructions from the principal. Then as per section 90, not to delegate authority. An agent is having no right to delegate again his authority to any other person. And last one, on principles, death or insanity. See, in the case of death or insanity of a principal, as per section 209, 209, so there are certain duties vested in the hands of the agent. It is his responsibility to hand over or to report it to the legal heirs or legal representatives of the principal. It should be transparent. He should disclose everything to the legal representatives or legal heirs of the principal in the case of principal's death or insanity. Don't think that the agent is having the right to acquire his business, the principal's business. No, it is his responsibility to convey all this message, all the particulars to the legal representatives and legal heirs. So these are the duties of an agent. The next one we'll discuss what are the rights of agent. The first right is right to remuneration. Every agent is entitled to receive remuneration agreed upon with the principal. Because he is working for the principal, so agent is having all the right to get remuneration. The next one is right of lien, right to withhold, section as per section 221. So in case the principal is not paying his salaries, commission, or and other benefits, the agent is having all the right to withhold the properties or goods of the principal. That right is called as right of lien. The next one is right to indemnity. In case of any loss suffered by the agent by acting on behalf of the principal, it is the duty of the principal or it is the right of the agent to get indemnity or to be indemnified from the principal. So these are the rights: right to remuneration, right of lien, and right of indemnity. Then we will discuss rights and duties of the principal towards agent. So what are the rights and duties of the principal towards agent? First point is rights of principal. So these are the rights of the principal. First point, he can enforce the various duties of an agent. Second one, the principal can recover compensation for any breach of duty by the agent. Third one is he can forfeit agent's remuneration where the agent is guilty of misconduct in the business of agency. Fourth one, principal is entitled to any extra profit that the agent has made out of his agency. This includes illegal gratification, if any. The principal is entitled to receive all sums that the transaction entered into by the agent on behalf of the principal were void or illegal. So these are the rights of principal. First one, we can say the principal can enforce the various duties of an agent. Whatever duties the agent assigned to the principal is having all the right to enforce it. The principal can recover compensation for any breach of duty by the agent. If there is any negligence or breach of duty from the agent's side, so if there is any laws, that laws the principal can compensate from the agent. The principal can forfeit agent's remuneration where the agent is guilty of misconduct in the business of agency. So in case of any serious misconduct, guilty of misconduct from the agent side, the principal is having all the right to forfeit or withhold the agent's remuneration. The fourth rights we can say, principal is entitled to any extra profit that the agent is made out of his agency. If there is any extra profit arises due to any transactions, the principal is having the right to get the extra profit. The agent is having no right to keep the whatever extra profit attained or gained through any transaction. It should be provided to the principal. And last one is principal is entitled to receive all sums that the transaction entered into by the agent on behalf of the principal were void or illegal. So whatever benefits, whatever sums received for the transactions, whether it is void or illegal transaction, so that sums received should be provided to the principal. So if the agent is required to provide that money to the principal, or principal is having the right to get see all sums received by any transaction, whether it is void or illegal, legal, or see whatever it may be, see whatever sums received, it should be, see the principal is having the right to get all sums received. So these are the rights. Next one we will discuss what are the duties of principal. So these are the duties of principal. First one is to pay remuneration. It's a responsibility, it's a duty of the principal to pay remuneration to the agent. Second one is duty to indemnify. If there is any loss, if there is any loss suffered by the agent, it is the duty of the principal to indemnify or compensate. Then compensation for injuries, and it is its duty to not prevent the agent from earning remuneration. Should not prevent the agent from earning remuneration. So these are the duties. First one, duty to pay remuneration, duty to indemnify in case of loss, and compensation for injuries. Should not prevent the agent from earning remuneration. Okay. Then we will discuss what are the principal's liabilities to third parties for the acts of the agent. Sometimes, the principal is directly responsible to the third parties on the act of the agent. First one, liability for acts done by agent within authority. Ratification of acts beyond scope of his authority, where agent commits fraud or misrepresentation. These are the circumstances. The liability for the acts done by the agent within authority. So whatever acts done by an agent within the authority assigned by the principal. So if there is any liability arises therefrom, principal is liable to the third parties. And ratification of acts beyond the scope of his authority. So any acts done by the agent beyond his authority, normally principal is not responsible. But whenever an act which are outside the scope of authority of the agent, but it is ratified, duly ratified by the principal, then principal is liable towards the third parties. Once it is ratified, then principal is liable towards the third parties. And the third one is when an agent commits fraud or misrepresentation. When an agent commits fraud or misrepresentation in the conduct of the business or dealing with the third parties, then the principal is liable for such any loss or any injury arising from such fraudulent or misrepresentation act. See, the principal is liable towards the third parties. So these are the circumstances in which the principal is directly liable to the third parties. Then we will discuss what are the instances where agent and third party agent is responsible to the third parties. In the absence of any contract to that effect, an agent cannot personally enforce contract entered into by him on behalf of his principal, nor is he personally bound by them. So this is the general rule that in the absence of any contract to the contrary, generally speaking, an agent cannot personally enforce a contract entered into by him on behalf of the principal, and he is not personally bound by them. So generally speaking, an agent is not responsible, personally responsible for the acts of the agent towards the third parties. But there are certain exceptions. If there is no contract providing for or relieving the agent from personal liability, the agent would be liable in the following cases. Generally speaking, agent is not responsible for the acts done by him on behalf of the principal, but there are certain exceptions. Some cases, agent is directly responsible to the third parties. The following are the cases. First one is foreign principal. Suppose an agent is functioning on behalf of a foreign principal. That means the principal appointed by him, he is situating in a foreign country. The second one is unnamed principal. Suppose an agent is functioning for an unnamed, name of the principal is not disclosed, and undisclosed principal. Principal name is not disclosed, or the particulars of the principal is not disclosed. In that case, agent is responsible. Incompetent principal. Suppose we are acting as an incompetent principal. Incompetent means, below the age of 18, that means a minor or unsound person or incompetent person. So suppose we are acting as a agent of a minor or agent of a lunatic person or any unsound person. In that case, agent is personally liable to our third parties. Incompetent person, principal is not responsible. Where the agent exceeds his authority, where an agent acting beyond his authority, then whatever acts beyond his authority, the agent will be responsible to third parties unless and otherwise it is ratified. Where agent's authority is coupled with interest, in that case also agent is responsible to the third parties. Then custom of trade. If there is a trade and in that trade there is a custom that the agent is directly responsible to the third parties. In that case, suppose there is an existing custom is there in that trade, then we can say the agent is directly responsible to the third parties. And money received by mistake or fraud. So whatever money received from a third party by mistake or by fraud, any fraudulent activity. See, in that case, principal is not directly responsible. The agent is directly responsible to the third party. So these are the instances in which we can say the agent is directly responsible to the third parties. First one is foreign principal. Suppose agent is working for a foreign principal. Agent is working for an unnamed principal. Agent is working for an undisclosed principal. Agent is working for an incompetent person principal, where the agent exceeds his authority, where agent's authority is coupled with interest, where custom of trade, and where money received by mistake or fraud. So these are the instances we can say agent is directly responsible to the third parties. Then we will discuss the termination of agency, which are the ways in which the contract of agency terminated. The contract of agency would come to an end in any of the following circumstances. First one is by agreement. Second one is by revocation by the principal. Third one is by renunciation by the agent. Fourth one is completion of business. Fifth one is death or insanity. Then sixth one, insolvency of the principal. Seventh one is expiration of time. Then eighth one, destruction of the subject matter. Ninth one is dissolution of company. 10th one, principal or agent become alien enemy. So these are the circumstances in which we can say the contract of agency terminated. First one is by agreement. There is an agreement that such and such agency will be for a particular period of time and or particular object. So after the expiration of the time or after attaining that object, that contract of agency automatically terminated. The second one is by revocation by the principal. Revocation means withdrawal. By the withdrawal by the principal. So suppose the principal is withdrawing that contract of agency. So in that case, contract of agency ceases to exist. The third one is renunciation by agent. The agent is cancellation of the contract of agency. Renunciation means the cancellation of the contract of agency. So in that case, all sort of the contract ceases to exist. The next one is completion of business. For what purpose we created that agency, that purpose we already served. So in that case, see, after the completion of the business, that contract agency automatically comes to an end. The next one, death or insanity of the parties. In case death or insanity or any kind of incompetency of the contracting parties, that contract comes to an end. And insolvency of the principal. See, whenever the principal becomes insolvent or adjudged as a bankrupt or insolvent by a competent court, so we can say that contract comes to an end. The next one is expiration of time. Maybe see the contract of agency is created for a particular period of time. See, on the expiry of that time, we can say that contract comes to an end. Then destruction of the subject matter. So we created this contract agency for some object, some we have to deal something, some material, something like that. And whenever the subject matter of the contract of agency comes to an end, that means due to tsunami or earthquake or due to some calamities, natural calamities, suppose that subject matter of the contract comes to an end, that material or subject matter of the contract comes to an end, we can say that contract of agency ceases. Or whenever the destruction of the subject matter of the contract of agency occurs, we can say that contract of agency automatically ceases to exist. The next one is dissolution of a company. See, whenever the principal's company dissolved, automatically wound up. So, or winding up procedures are already done. So, in that case, that company principal is no more existing. So, in that case, contract agency also comes to an end. And last one, principal or agent becoming an alien enemy. Alien enemy means foreign enemy. In case of war situation, what will happen? One country will declare the other country as alien enemy. And in a particular situation, either the principal or agent become alien enemy. In that case, also contract come to an end. So these are the instances. The termination of contract arises. First one is by agreement. Second one is by revocation by the principal. Third one is renunciation by the agent. Then fourth one, completion of business. Fifth one is death or insanity. Sixth one, insolvency of the principal. Seventh one is expiration of time. Eighth one is destruction of the subject matter. Ninth one is dissolution of a company. And 10th one is principal or agent becoming alien enemy. So these are the termination instances in which we can say contract of agency terminated. Thank you for watching my channel. Please do not forget to subscribe our channel. Please click the bell icon near to the subscribe button. You will get the notification when we upload new videos. Thank you.